what is this conference? What is the intention?
The intention of the conference is to bring together some of the very best minds in retail doing unique things both at the brick and mortar level and integrating e-commerce into what they're doing. Eden's has a very specific point of view that our role with retail is to build community. So our whole perspective is to figure out how to bring people together at the human, what we call the human analog format. And part of that is really bringing in these unique retailers. The consumer wants to spend their time in differentiated places. But the flip side to that is that there isn't as many resources for these small retailers who don't have access because of restriction of capital, maybe it's restriction of resources. So we bring together 50 of the very best retailers, usually 5 to 10 units in size, and bring them together to exchange ideas, concepts with some of the leading retailers around the country who are really pushing innovative ideas.
All right, and just to mention that Eden's has operations in places like Washington. You have the Union Square, Union Market development in Washington. So you have operations in Atlanta and Miami as well as Boston. Sid, so they selected you. You're going to be telling people how to make it all happen, right?
I'm in high cotton, Bill.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
Tell us about your business and tell us about how you got to be on this GQ list.
Yeah, funny enough, it seems like it happened overnight, but I've been doing this since I was about 15 years old. But came to New York in the early 80s and went to work for a nameless catalog company in New Jersey that turned into one of the greatest retail stories ever.
Did you always want it to be in apparel?
Always.
Always.
As soon as I got my driver's license, I was 15 years old, went to work in a clothes store. I loved clothes and I love people. I love the convergence, and that's what we're practicing today in our shop. Because what Jodie alludes to with the community piece is the blocking and tackling of retail that I think in a funny way is kind of missing today. The other piece that feels...
Like what would be an example of something like that? Having the right sizes, the right colors, the right fashion, what?
Fantastic point. Being in stock. Huge point. And so we go to great lengths to be in stock and deep on mostly basic items, but also fashion items, but also taking care of the customer in a way that he and she are not really accustomed to. So we kind of, we have a saying inside the shop is when someone crosses the threshold, they're voting for us, hug them with your eyes. So we want to make sure when that person comes in that they feel like $1 million and that they are the sole we're going to give them as much attention. Exactly.
That they're the focus. Jodie,
right.
Obviously, you want successful retailers in the developments that you manage and that you operate. How do you determine? Sometimes someone was going to come in with a great product, but then they open the store and there are no customers, and you can't figure out why. Or has that never happened?
Never happens.
Never happens.
Never happens.
No. Every retailer is a winner.
We really have shifted our paradigm to look at, instead of driving sales, to drive time. We want to win the time war. So we really look at how do we inspire our community to come together 3.5 trips per week, 5 hours per week with us. So we really have to focus on 3 things. We focus on design, so design of our places and design of the retailer
Right,
themselves.
because your design has to match Sid's design, and your design has to fit with what Jodie is doing,
It have to be complementary.
And the adjacencies are critical.
Merchandising.
She's really the conductor of the symphony of adjacencies.
How do you decide where to put the stores?
It's a mix of art and science. And it really is. We do the demographic studies. We do.
You do the traffic studies. You get down on your hands and knees and find where the floor is worn away, literally, to see where the traffic is. Sometimes.
Well, we drive the parking lots and we see what kind of nameplates are in the cars, and we're actually looking for a place that's a little bit different than many other people that would typically be in our space. We're looking for a cultural crossroads. So, in essence, if you apply that to New York City, it would be where will the hipsters from Brooklyn come that also the guys from the Upper East Side will come to.
Well, Jodie wants them all in all of your locations, right? Now, you can't ignore the online segment of all of this retail business, right? Because sometimes people are going to go into a store, they click a picture, they look online for it to make sure that they've got it less expensive. How do you deal with that?
We think that if we win with time, we're going to win in the wallet. So if our spaces make you feel good, You want to spend your time there. Great merchandising, and then engagement. So where the sale actually happens, whether it's within our brick and mortar space or if it's when they get home and they go back to sidmashburn.com, we feel like our retailers are winning, and it's really the time that people spend
now, but
there.
Does that information, Sid, does that information about maybe what happens online and maybe cross-referencing with a zip code, does that end up being something that Jodie can access or that they can check on to make sure that that loop is completed?
It depends. The centers that we're not in one of Jodie's centers today, but you know
we're going to make that.
God willing,
yes.
it'll
happen.
make
this. It will happen. No problem.
But the cool thing is the centers that we're currently in are pretty small centers,
right?
Okay, but they're also very important again from that cultural crossroads perspective. But if they were a little more sophisticated in their data gathering, absolutely, they'd be used, you know, to go hand in hand, because it is not a or, it's an and.
I just want you to tell people, where's your newest location?
Houston, Texas.
Yeah, very good.
It is fantastic. Thank you very much.
Jodie, I want just for you to tell people about this event that's coming up. Can anyone attend? How do they participate?
No, it's by invitation only.
Okay.
For this year, we've had this now for a couple of years. We limited it to 50 of the really hand-selected best of class smaller retailers. It's called SMART, The Art of Retail.
And really it's today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow. So they really have access to one another and to really the best in the industry.